Queen Luna looks nothing like Queen Luna in the cartoon, and she looks nothing like Stella as well. I would not be surprised if they put in a little Stella, you're actually adopted kind of thing. She kinda reminds me of Umbridge in Harry Potter. I don't know if you can relate to me. She does. Faragonda, on the other hand, is Farah Dowling in the live action, who reminds me of Nanny McPhee but more stern. Hey friends, it's Yani Maya here, and today we'll be talking about Fate, the Winx Saga. And you know, the entire internet has a lot of opinions about this, and I just like to chip in, my own personal opinions. So keep on watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you get all the updates on new videos here on my channel. I actually put the time codes in the bottom, and you can check out in the end what the important details are if you guys should watch this alone with your friends or whatever, the rating, and stuff like that won't really spoil you and that can help you in decision making when it comes to should I actually watch Winx or should I not? Should I skip it and check something else? But we all know Fate the Winx Saga just recently released on Netflix, and it has divided the nation. I mean, more than anything else, especially people my age who grew up with Winx as their childhood go-to TV show on Nickelodeon. I was kinda looking forward to this series, guys. I don't know, but because live actions don't really have the greatest track record, because a lot of things get lost in translation. And let's face it, the people who do handle this don't really know the culture that it has created within the society or within the group of people that are invested in the storytelling. I don't really mind live actions. I get really excited about it if they stayed true to the original source. You feel me? That's why we love it so much. So people who just create these things without understanding where it came from, it just flops in the end. Or if they don't put their own unique twist to it that separates itself from the original source but doesn't really degrade the storytelling of the original source, then go for it. Like, I'm not stopping you guys. I'm not saying that it needs to follow it 100%. But since Winx actually sold the nostalgia part with fans that already grew up will be able to relate to and enjoy, they could have made the original cartoon stand out more in the live action, which I know people, if you guys watched it already or checked the trailer, it's kind of obvious that they really took a different route regarding this. But it didn't really make it unique, in my opinion, compared to all the other TV shows that we see right now. Like, it really clutched on the Teen Wolf aesthetic, the Riverdale aesthetic. So I first watched the cartoon again when it came out in 2004, and then they took a break, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually Italian in origin, which I didn't know until I researched about it. That's pretty cool. But I'm not really caught up with the recent versions of it, and it's created that culture and that diversity within the cartoon show. So I absolutely adored it because I saw myself in the series through Musa, as the Asian character. I know Musa is leaning towards Chinese. So, my disappointment when the news came out regarding Winx and the casting of that, which we'll get to in a while. Also, it's one of the few cartoons that they actually changed their clothes in. I loved it. The animators took the time to understand the personality of the characters and create fashion that shows that in the cartoon. I also liked how every episode was exciting, colorful, and adventurous, which none of that can be seen in the live action on Netflix. So rundown, the live action series centers on the 5 fairies. Just 5 fairies. I don't want to say the 5 fairies in the cartoon because we all know how it is. Those 5 fairies go to a magical school called Althea, which is actually the prime school for fairies as said in the live action, which also teaches the specialists, a group of trained individuals tasked to protect the realm of Solaria in the Otherworld. So Brian Young is the creator and showrunner of this TV series and is actually the former writer of The Vampire Diaries, which I started but didn't finish. So he said that it's the dark coming-of-age story that is based on Winx. But this one is dark young adult, edgier, stereotypical coming-of-age story with, magical powers. And I actually heard some news that they wanted to make it like Riverdale, Why do we want everything to make it like Riverdale? Why is Riverdale the standard? I don't get why everything needs to follow Riverdale. I guess there is a target market for that kind of storytelling, but I mean, Winx has its own aesthetic, you know, and it has its own appeal. And I really think they missed the mark with this one. So initial thoughts on the trailer and social media. Whoo! Okay, I actually did not know they would be creating a Winx live action until I saw the trailer pop up on my Facebook timeline. And I was like, whoa! Whoa! Wow, Harry Potter. Let's go. I love Harry Potter, but we don't talk about the author. You guys know how it is for all of the Potter heads. So I was intrigued. I played it, but I was so confused, yo. Who is this? Who is that?
What's she doing?
What's happening? And it's so detached from the cartoon. There are also some parts that I think were cut awkwardly. To put it in Filipino, kasi di ko na alam paano i-explain. Medyo babad yung shot. It was okay naman, the trailer. It kind of hooked me, which is why I watched the TV series. Primarily because I was kind of confused and I wanted an explanation. What was happening? Give me the explanation. And I think that worked to their advantage. A lot of people did watch the TV show. I believe it was top 10 in a lot of Netflix in different countries. So, congratulations to your marketing style. But, here's the catch for all of our Winx fans out there. I know. This is a huge tip if you want to watch the TV show, but you don't really want it to ruin your childhood. Your mindset has to be, you should not expect anything from the cartoon that will be put in the original aside from some of the cartoon characters and the magical realm thing. I came in there expecting nothing. I didn't really hate it, but when you think about it as a Winx fan, that's where all the complication sets in. So as we move forward, I just want to tell you that this is spoiler territory. But in my opinion, you really don't get spoiled that much because the plot kinda goes the same way as other stereotypical teen young adult series. So I guess. Episode 1. Where is the magic? Winx created a world, the magic dimension, hinged on magic and the technology that they had that the specialists used, which gave them equal ground with the people who could wield magic. So I really was looking forward to the flying bikes that Sky and his posse would ride, to the action. The stuff the specialists used. In this series, I just got a stick and a couple of swords, and that weird armor they were using. The specialists had high-tech armor, high-tech outfits to help them fight the magical creatures. And we got like Hunger Games attire, and it wasn't even that really good. But I really did love the opening sequence though, where Bloom goes in to Althea and the characters are introduced in a matter of seconds, showing their personality and what you can expect from them. After the introduction, and where she talks to the Dean, it's not Farragonda. What's her name? Farah Dowling. That's when I was like, wait, I think this has potential. Let's give it a shot. It's good that they casted relatively newcomers for the main cast. I believe Freddie Thorpe was one of the guys who had the most experience in acting. He acted in a couple of movies and shows prior to this. And Abigail Cohen is one of the reasons why I'm watching this, because she is from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. She played Dorcas. And when I was watching Winx, I completely forgot about that. And I really think she did well in portraying Bloom. So she was a joy to watch, to be honest. Her face kind of changed when they did all that natural makeup on her, because I'm really used to her as Dorcas and having that really dark eye makeup. So when she donned Bloom, I was like, yeah, this could be my Bloom. But unlike the cartoon, the magical people are separated from Bloom. Like when she goes to Althea, she is evidently separated from them. Why? Because these guys have a British accent. Something that I did like is I think they went the right route when it comes to breaking gender classifications with regards to the fairies and the specialists. Because the original cartoon, as you all know, the fairies are all girls while the specialists are all guys. And that's how they separated them. But here in the live action, you could actually see some of the extras, girls as specialists and guys as fairies as well, as we see with Sam, Nora, I believe. Sam is a fairy, Nora is a specialist. Gosh, when I was watching the first episode, I was like, what? Why are the specialists in the same university, the same school as the fairies? It took away the uniqueness of the education that the specialists needed and the fairies needed by putting them in the same school. But okay, they have different deans, sure. But I would have liked to see Althea, Cloud Tower, and Red Fountain, you know, those 3 different schools specializing on different kinds of magic in the magic dimension. Also, the characters were born around 2004 as we see with Bloom. And it's kind of weird because if they were born around 2004, it would have been better if they just aged them as the same age as us to kind of be more integrated in the darker and more mature theme that they're going for. Or it would have been cool to see the Winx as college students. Because I believe they're in high school or just graduated. So these are all of the questions that actually made me want to watch it more, just to see if they would address it in the latter episodes. So I was looking for that redeeming factor, that all my questions will be answered. So it didn't really make me want to continue the series as much as I hoped it would after episode 1, but I wanted to find out if Bloom would have a similar backstory as the cartoon, which was pretty awesome. You know, she really has strong powers and she came from a pretty legendary background. So I did finish this series. It took me days though, just because I didn't feel like it intrigued me too much to binge it all in one sitting, which you guys can do, by the way. It's only 6 episodes. There are a lot of differences obviously with the cartoon. Like, so Magix is the planet in the middle of the magic dimension where the Winx cartoon takes place. They have the 3 magical schools, which is Cloud Tower for dark magic, where we see the tricks. We also have Althea for fairies and Red Fountain for the specialists. So another thing great about the cartoon is that its storytelling is so deep and complex already that fans are so invested in, and you could really feel the makers put in a lot of thought into the world. We have the Otherworld instead of Magix, 7 different realms. So they haven't actually revealed all the realms yet. They did reveal 3 of it, which is Solaria, Heraklion, and Linfea, and that's it. That's all we get. Althea is the primary magic school, which houses the specialists and the fairies, and Beatrix. I put her in a different category because she's actually part of Cloud Tower. Beatrix, like be the tricks, if you guess. I think you get it. So Bloom also stays in California instead of Gardenia, which she stays in the cartoon, making it more realistic to our setting, and it's one of the primary goals actually of the series. Fairies came from different worlds in the original animation, but here in the live action, they actually come from the different realms. So let's talk about the Winx Room, which I was so looking forward to seeing. Really mimicked a boarding school room where they had this set area for the girls, and then the girls just kind of fill it up with the stuff that they like and their personalities. But in the cartoon, I really aspired to have the room that showed the individuality. So I was hoping that we'd see that in the live action because it was something that I loved watching. Unfortunately, they didn't capitalize on what it could be and how the rooms could reflect the girls' personalities. So the room is consistent basically with the tone of the live action, but the cartoon's room had so much personality and excitement. Sorry, it didn't really do as much in the live action. So there's no freaking transformation in Winx as well. In the first episode, it's already established that we are not gonna see Winx soon in the first few episodes. that kind of disappointed me because that is the point of the entire Winx cartoon series. The transformation, the wings, what they're gonna look like when they level up. The burned ones are there instead of the witches, meaning the tricks. They're the enemies. They said they came from an ancient war, but there's no further explanation and we're just left hanging. In the end, they do mention that they are going to war with the burned ones. Why? The entire series, I was just thinking, we built up to this? So it is set in a whole different dimension and I didn't see them capitalizing that and creating that entire world. They just wanted it to be more relatable to our world, but it's set in a whole different dimension. It isn't really very engaging and exciting, especially when it's not set in this world supposedly. We see this all the time on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. Guys, the fashion sucks. It really does. Bloom's hair is on point though, but you know, Sky's hair distracted me for most of the series. He has bangs, but there's this like bang here on the side that's just plastered. I think they're trying to pay homage to the original cartoon where Sky has long hair and it's kinda in his face, but you can do it better. It kinda really bothered me. I really can't see his facial expression. Why you do Winx dirty like that, guys? Why you Terra dirty? TikTokers are doing so well with this. They're dressing up the Winx girls on how they should or could have looked like. They could have made it darker and edgier, but still had that fashionable sense, that style. Stella's fashion. She's a princess. Her fashion didn't really exemplify that. It didn't reflect the background that she is in, privilege that she has. Yeah, I really can't say anything anyway. So let's head on over to the characters. I like how Bloom isn't very helpless. She really isn't dependent on Sky. She's very determined like in the cartoon, but she also isn't knowledgeable about that world. She still has to lean on Beatrix and Stella to teach her all about the world, Aisha as well, and the other fairies. So her impulsiveness in the cartoon is shown in the series, which I like. Acting wise, I think Abigail did really well portraying Bloom. You could really see her thinking through her facial expressions, which I like because she doesn't really need to say everything that she's thinking about. She just kind of shows it, and you can see that she has this internal struggle with the expressions that she's showing. So that's one of the reasons why I continue to watch it. Abigail Cohen, I think, was carrying this series on her shoulders. She really portrayed Bloom well. Good job, girl! But I do want to emphasize that the other actors did well in portraying their characters too. I just appreciated Bloom more. Stella, on the other hand, was privileged in the cartoon, but she is kind. Unlike here in the live action, she falls into the stereotypical mean girl, privileged, bratty role that we always see, and not gave her a different dimension to being a princess. So Stella's magic focuses on results, and it makes sense because she is the princess. Appearance is everything, as Queen Luna said. It's actually very relatable because society nowadays wants results fast and neglecting the process. I actually also like the monologue that she did in episode 5 explaining her background. At least we kind of understood her side. Let's move on to Terra, or aka Flora and the lack thereof. I actually don't know why they needed to replace Flora. Terra kinda has the same abilities. Terra, I really felt the anxiety and social awkwardness. She was kinda very irritating at times, and I think that's one of the goals of the character, but it played really well to her social insecurity. So we all know that they whitewashed Flora, or Terra's character. And it's a big issue because Winx is one of the cartoons that had racial diversity. Why do we need the live action that kind of takes it back a couple of years, right? You guys whitewash! We do see Flora in the latter episodes. I hope they stay true to her Latin roots. Hopefully they get around to doing something about that. Terra's acting, I really can't compare it to anything else because Terra is the character created for the series. So I just found the part where she was talking with Riven and threatening him a bit awkward. I don't know, I think I was supposed to be scared and I was supposed to have been revealed to the other side of Terra, which is capable and strong, but the build-up was, it fell short for me. I didn't see the tension between the two characters enough for her to start choking Riven. And if Riven and Flora were friends before, as Riven explained later on in the series. I don't know if Terra, as to the sweetheart that she is, should have really choked him. But that's my opinion. Tell me about yours in the comment section below. So I would have liked it to be built up more to show that she really is dangerous and that her powers shouldn't be something that you overlook, and she has the capacity of carrying herself by herself, contrary to the sweet side that she shows majority in the series. Elliot, I think she really did well generally. A lot of people could relate to Terra in a way too. Let's go to Aisha, the most underdeveloped character in the main cast of the series, in my opinion. Okay, I kinda get the hardworking, straightforward, loyal vibe as a student athlete. I'm glad that they put the student athlete part of Aisha in the series, although I'd love to see her athletic abilities shown more, aside from her daily swimming routine in the morning, training with a specialist instead of Musa, because she has that capacity. I mean, not really downplaying Musa. I think she has that interest more in the athletic side and the combat side. Moving on to Beatrix. Okay, so Beatrix is a combination of Darcy, Aisha, and Stormy in the original cartoon. I loved how they emphasized Beatrix's intelligence. That means she isn't really one-dimensional. She isn't just a villain, but she's actually with the side that she thinks is right. So you can see that she really is a hybrid of the tricks. She's strategic, loyal, evil, smart. She likes history. That's pretty cool. And she is one of the characters we see the most power from. Unfortunately, we don't really see as much power with the other girls. I personally really enjoyed her acting. I loved watching her on screen. She actually is one of the younger cast members. I believe she's turning 19. She's around 18 to 19, that age mark. So I enjoyed her, and I would have loved to see the tricks, the three girls, but I think Beatrix is great. I think she's a good alternative to casting three different people to portray the evil side when she's doing pretty well. And I think Riven and Dane are filling the void of the other two girls, or the other two characters that we don't see with the tricks. So Riven, speaking of, we have the rebellious fairy in Beatrix, and equally we have the bad boy to match in the specialists, which I did not see coming. The entire first few episodes, I was like, when is he gonna show the Riven that we see in the cartoon? He isn't really the bad boy in the cartoon. He does have that edgy, dark side in the cartoon, but he still stays with the good side, and he's still drawn to that, even though he can be a jerk sometimes. So I was looking forward to that aspect of Riven. I was waiting for it. I don't know if we're gonna see more of that in season 2, if he's gonna rebel against the dark side, or if he's gonna be like a secret agent, double agent kind of feels. So we'll wait and see. I do like how he's loyal to Sky, but Riven still puts Sky under the bus. It contradicts him saying that he's loyal to Sky, but he did mention that he's always on Sky's shadow. So I'm not really sure if he's actually a real friend, or if we're gonna have like a friendship falling out in the season 2, if we do get a season 2. So acting wise, I think Riven did well. Freddie Thorpe, I love his facial expressions, and you could really see when he gets super irritated, or when he's playing it cool and he doesn't really need to say it. He throws lines very effortlessly, naturally, and he's very comfortable with the mannerisms of the bad boy that is Riven. But on the other side of the fence, we have Sky. Oh my gosh, Sky. My gosh, what the I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I was not impressed with Sky's character. Here in the live action, Sky is not a prince, unlike in the cartoon, which makes sense if they're gonna stick with the realms thing. So his chivalrous character, although doesn't have a strong backing since he's not a prince anymore, but he was brought up by Saul as kind and confident and chivalrous. But the prince thing still puts in another dimension to his character that I would have liked to see in the series. This guy is supposed to be the best fighter in Althea. Let him at least show that. I don't get Sky sometimes. He's trying to be a mature adult, but he comes off as a bratty kid for most of the time. And I think his character was actually just put there to be tension between Bloom and Stella. Sky needs to have more story behind him to justify him being there. It's like he's a vehicle for development of the other characters when I want him to have his own development as well. So he's also the turning point of Riven, right? He's one of the buttons that push Riven to the other side. He's also one of the factors why Bloom realized that she has to go out of the college. He's also one of the factors why Stella did also realize that she has to believe in herself. But where is the justice for Sky's character? So he has so much potential, but it kind of fell short for me. He seems like a really spoiled dude. I think they tried to make Sky more well-rounded with his backstory that we see in the latter episodes. I didn't see the impact of the dad as much as I would have liked to understand where Sky or where the pressure that Sky is feeling is coming from. And it didn't really add to his character. I don't know. Him talking about his background story seemed more like a way for Bloom to like him more or to feel sorry for him than to really develop his character as Sky. So he's also very emotional, which is a bit contrary to how he would have been brought up as one of the best specialists, which are very hard or very adherent to the rules and to the hierarchy. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of contradictory for me. Acting wise, I need more from this guy. Like, give me more. Give me more, sis. Give me more of that facial expression. It seems like he has a perpetual sad face. I'm so sorry, but I only see this all the time, like. And he has that open mouth thing. But it seemed like he was more comfortable portraying the role in the latter episodes. I guess the throwing of lines was more natural and it wasn't very awkward or forced. So I think if we do get a season 2, he'd play Sky a bit better. Moving on to Musa. Musa is not Asian, yo! Musa is said to be Chinese. She's also said to have been based on Lucy Liu. Did not see any Lucy Liu action in the casting. That really disappointed me. The character I always wanted to be like and related to the most was not in the series. Would have put in more interest if we had more racial diversity, because these are different cultures in the same boarding room and trying to adjust to each other. It would have put more depth into the storytelling. Her power though of being an empath and being a mind fairy makes more sense in the world that they're trying to build than having the power to control music and sound waves, you know? So it isn't too far-fetched from the original Musa. I was wondering why they didn't just change Musa's name, since they kinda changed her power too, instead of giving Flora a whole different character through Terra. I was looking forward to the Riven and Musa tandem that I was loving in the cartoon, because we all love that toxic bad boy, good girl trope that we see all the time, although it is toxic. But Riven in the cartoon wasn't that much of a bad guy. So when we did get that scene with Riven and Musa talking to each other, I think it was that, like, the showrunner was giving that, let me give you a treat, but we're not gonna actually do it the entire series. So I think that was that part. If they were to put Riven and Musa together, if ever in the future, I think they're gonna have to, like, create so much tension between Sam and Musa, because Sam and Musa is really, woo, they're really strong, guys. Sam and Musa is actually very adorable for me, but they can be lovesick at times. Like, wow, you guys are eating, you guys have to kiss all the time. I think Sam was just an avenue for Musa to understand that she has to open up more, which is obvious in the live action. Acting wise, I was iffy with Musa's casting for a while, but she's one of the characters that I like watching the most, so the actress did portray Musa in a more relatable, in a way that I actually enjoyed watching. She was very relatable, but Musa was more cheerful in the cartoon. And last but not least, the lack thereof of Tecna. After thinking about it, I understand why they did not put Tecna in the series, because the series does not have the technological aspects. So Tecna was an integral character in the cartoon because they were in the world of high-tech technology, which she could control. But in the series that we get, most technology that we have are smartphones, which I find weird. I would have loved to see her maybe as an air fairy, like Beatrix. So the characters have their own stories and development. They're a bit one-dimensional at times. I think they're all there. They're all put there to forward Bloom's agenda, but the cartoon really wasn't that like that. It was more of their friendship and how they developed each other in their own stories. So I hope we see that more in season 2. The script is so weird. I find it weird. They have awkward cut lines and awkward line throwing, especially with Sky. Development of their relationship as well as a group was not shown on screen, so we have a lot of them talking about what happened behind the scenes when we didn't see it for ourselves. So you kind of have to pay attention to their dialogue because they actually talked about this. Everyone in their dorm room knows, and that's what they hinged on to develop their friendship or to show that they're really close. So I find that their development, I find that their friendship was really rushed to fit in the 6 episodes when it was the main focal point of the cartoon series. So they missed the mark on that. Bloom's lines though were very well planned. I like to hear the banter at times, especially when she's with Sky. So I also like how Sky isn't the kind of role to hold Bloom back, the kind of character to hold Bloom back in the latter episodes after Bloom has repeatedly told him to stop saving her. Which, yay, congratulations, we love an independent woman and an empowered woman at that. And I also like the part where Stella has her monologue in episode 5 and they juxtapose that to Queen Luna's confrontation with Farah. So it really showed both of their characters well. So the script basically was a hit or miss most of the time. In terms of the relationships that we see in the series, I think Sky and Stella is kind of like a Troy and Sharpay relationship in High School Musical. We see that they were together before, and then the girl becomes the bad girl, the guy is actually the athletic dude, and the chivalrous guy and the perfect dude. To my dismay, and I think I've sinned against the Winx world, I wish Sky and Bloom did not end up together in the middle of the series because Bloom is too headstrong for this guy, and I think this guy was just, I don't know if he really added to Bloom's experience in the college in Althea and in the magic dimension. So the plot is really predictable basically. It also lacks in action and enthusiasm that the original cartoon had. In the original cartoon, the specialists were so eager to show off and to actually fight and to have their projects or to have their assignments given to them. But here in the live action, they lack in training, as we heard in the stories. So there's a lot of telling and not showing. It's really reliant on the dialogue and the script. So I've been waiting actually for the entrance of the queen. I've been waiting for her entrance. I thought she would be coming in this huge entourage with this magic stuff, everything. Like the Buttons and Harry Potter when they came in and they did their presentation. I got really let down when she came out of a car. Like the president that we see in real life. Why? I don't like the idea of phones. It's like they give this excuse to not have magical elements. They have Instagram for goodness sakes, and it's really weird how Nora, one of the specialists, used her phone to contact Marco, and while she is dying, they're video calling. So I didn't feel the urgency and the tragedy of the scene where Nora was dying and they found out that there's a lot of burned ones, because the video call method really took away from the emotion that could have been developed in that scene. So it seems like they're using phones as a clutch to avoid the whole magic thing that we see in the cartoon and the whole advanced technological aspects that I would have loved to watch. They stuck true with the women empowerment side, which is inherent in the cartoon. Regarding whitewashing, Abigail Cohen actually spoke up about it, and she said that the cast actually hopes that they address this in season 2. The girl who played Musa also mentioned that hopefully her portrayal as Musa was to the expectation of the fans, but the whole cast ultimately was not part of the casting, so they really can't speak to the whitewashing. So all that they could say was they hope if they do get a season 2, this would be addressed. So regarding season 2, I actually said a lot of things that I would have liked to see. Flora, to be exact, that is not whitewashed. We need more racial representation. I also would love to see them transform, not just with their wings, but their attires as well. The fashion needs to improve, people. I also want to see Tinkerbell. I actually don't want to see Tinkerbell, but I'm wondering if we get to see her because she is actually part of the Winx world. She's mentioned there in the cartoon, World of the Winx, I think. And she's also mentioned in the live action, so I'm wondering if we get to see a little Tinkerbell action. I also would love to see them explore the Otherworld more. There is more to that story than just Althea. Give Aisha, give the girl a more well-rounded story. She needs to have a story separate from being Bloom's roommate and being there to Bloom's advantage. The show's main production team, according to IMDb, is entirely new to the Winx franchise. So they've never worked on the cartoon before. I'm hoping though that they watch the cartoon and they understand the world, but as we see it in the live action, it doesn't really translate to the TV show. So this was actually filmed in 2019. Before the lockdown happened and the pandemic happened. I had to research this because I was wondering the entire time, maybe the budget constraints were because it was the pandemic, maybe they only had to make the setting in Althea because of the pandemic. But now that I researched about it, it was filmed in 2019, September to December, actually in Wicklow, Ireland. It doesn't give as much excuse to me as to how the production ended up like that. Compared to the original cartoon. Important notes, now this is the part where it really isn't a spoiler, so if you reach this part, if you skipped it, then hey, should you binge it or not? No, you don't need to binge it. You can actually watch it in the course of a few days, even though it's only 6 episodes. How long did I watch it for? In a span of days, I did not binge it. If you like this edgy teen movie and aren't a fan of the cartoons, then I think you'd actually like this series. I think you'd like to watch it. And there are a lot of people who are fans of this live action. So who can you watch it with though? You can actually watch it with your parents in the room, but there are scenes that they hint to romantic and physical actions. They just hint at though. They don't go all the way, unlike Riverdale or Chilling Adventures. But I don't think your parents will appreciate the storytelling or the series in general. Ultimately, you can watch it by yourself while doing something else, since the world isn't as complex and deep as the cartoon where you have to pay attention to everything. So if you did like the series, if after you watched it, you can actually watch The Order, which I started but didn't finish. Shadowhunters on Netflix as well. I started it also, I didn't finish it. Legacies, which is the kids of the originals, you know, the vampires and the magic, which I also started but didn't watch. Now, if you ask me, would I watch it again? TV shows that I would watch again are The Witcher, The Originals, The Good Place. So basically, if you compare it to them, I would not watch this TV show again. I'm so sorry. I think I've had enough of watching it. Watching Sky's hair. Watching the fashion, if you could call it that. But would I watch season 2? Now, the answer is yes, I would watch season 2, but I wouldn't be too excited about it. I wouldn't jump at the chance to watch it when it premieres. I just kinda wanna see the transformation of the other girls and how Bloom develops, but I'm not there for the whole production value and its relation to Winx. My mindset, once again, when I do watch season 2, if there is, but I think there would be, there are a lot of rumors and talks about it, my whole mindset would be, this is separate from the cartoon. This is nothing like the cartoon. And it really helped me get through the TV show. In conclusion, I think this is a glorified Wattpad fanfiction. I'm kind of worried for other live actions as well that Netflix is planning. I believe they have the rights to The Selection, which I read here in the back. I'm also very nervous for The Last Airbender. We already had that movie that we never talk about and erased from history. We don't need something else that downplays the cartoon, which is so very good. I'm also nervous for Shadow and Bone, which already has a teaser trailer. The books I know are very good. I am actually going to start reading them but I'm kinda nervous with how the live action would turn out. So I'd love to tell Netflix to stop pushing the dark agenda onto us, guys. We don't need more dark TV shows that are like Riverdale. I was wondering the entire time, why didn't you just change the name? And I answered my own question. It's because no one would watch it if it didn't have the nostalgia of the Winx series. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching this reaction review on Fate, the Winx Saga. I hope you got a lot of value from this, and please do comment down below if you are going to watch it or what your opinions are. I would love to hear it from you guys. Like this video if you loved it, or if you would love to see Tecna or Flora in the in the live action, do give a thumbs up for this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button so you're always updated on the uploads that I have. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!